The bomb just dropped, and now it's no longer a rumor, no longer a debate. The NFL itself has admitted it made a mistake against the Ravens. That play that changed the game, the one that made everyone stop and say, "Wait, how is that even a flag?" now has an official answer. And it's way more serious than it looked in the heat of the moment. But hold on, because that single mistake triggered a chain reaction of decisions, emotional swings, and on-field breakdowns that turned this game into a full domino effect. What happened after that explains why this loss is still burning in everyone's mind. And once you see the whole picture, nothing about this game will feel like a coincidence anymore. You know that kind of play where in real time you look at the screen and say, "There's no way they just called that." That's exactly what it felt like on Travis Jones' blocked field goal. He times the snap perfectly, explodes through the line, gets right through the middle, and blocks a kick that could have completely flipped the game. Then suddenly, a flag hits the turf. Penalty on the Ravens. And in that instant, the entire stadium goes silent. What looked like just another controversial call turned into something much bigger after the game. The Ravens went straight to the league asking for official clarification, and that's when the Real bomb dropped. The NFL admitted the penalty was wrong. Flat out wrong. It wasn't a foul. It never should have been called. And the Ravens were hurt at a critical moment. That completely changes how that part of the game has to be viewed. In real terms, that mistake wasn't just a minor detail. It took away Baltimore's chance to keep the game under control, gave new life to the Steelers' offense, and flipped field position in a brutal way. In tight games like this, one play like that hits like an anchor. It's the kind of call you can't just erase afterward, because the damage is already done. And what makes it even more shocking is that this wasn't just a technical rules debate. That single play opened the door to everything that followed. More controversial moments, more pressure on the defense, more tension on the offense, and a finish that completely slipped out of Ravens' control. That mistake was the spark, and the game still had even harder blows waiting. After the game, the mood was already heavy, but inside the Ravens organization, there was a strong feeling that this had to be addressed. John Harbaugh didn't accept that call. Eric DeCosta didn't either. And on top of that, the team now has Tony Mahalik, a former NFL referee, inside the building. This wasn't just emotional frustration. This was a real technical challenge to the ruling. They contacted the league directly, asking for an official review of the play. And then came the response nobody expected to hear. So, clearly, Perry Fewell and Walt Anderson, two of the most powerful names in NFL officiating, reviewed the play and were direct. There was no foul. The play was clean. The mistake was on the field. Harbaugh only made that public after the league gave him permission. And when a head coach says word for word, it was the wrong call. It should not have been called. That hits differently. That's not just a frustrated coach talking. That's institutional confirmation that the Ravens were wronged. But instead of easing the pain, that confirmation made everything even more frustrating. Because it doesn't give the points back. It doesn't change the scoreboard. It doesn't erase the impact of that moment. And while the Ravens were trying to process that blow off the field, on the field, the defense was already being pushed deeper into trouble. In the official report, referee Alex Moore said he saw Travis Jones run over the long snapper with forcible contact. By rule, the snapper is considered a defenseless player in that situation. So in his view, any contact was enough to justify the penalty. Simple as that, at least in his version. The problem is that the replay shows something very different. Jones drives through the gap, makes strong contact first with the left guard, and only afterward gets lightly pushed into the snapper. There's no direct blow to the head, no violent hit to the neck, none of the things that usually define unnecessary roughness. Even so, when questioned again, the referee didn't back down. He doubled down and said that, in his view, it didn't matter who was contacted first. If the snapper was contacted at all, the penalty applied. End of discussion. No room for doubt. No space for reconsideration. That contrast between what the replay showed, what the NFL later admitted, and what the referee continued to defend, makes the whole thing feel even more bitter. Because this wasn't just a split-second mistake. It was a decision that stood firm even when the images told another story. And while that debate played out behind the scenes, the damage on the field was already about to turn into points.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
After the flag on Travis Jones, everything unraveled fast. The Ravens had done the hard part. They forced the Steelers into a short field goal attempt after a perfect third down pass breakup by Marlon Humphrey. The defense had won the battle, but the penalty changed everything. With the flag, the ball was moved all the way down to the Ravens' 6-yard line. And on the very next play, Kenneth Gainwell walked into the end zone untouched. What should have ended as 3 points instantly became 7. A clean, direct punch. Impossible to ignore. In games at this level, a 4-point swing isn't just a number. It changes play calling. It changes rhythm. It changes how both sides of the ball operate. The Ravens were suddenly playing under even more pressure, knowing they had just lost a massive gift because of a mistake that never should have happened. And what makes it even more brutal is that this touchdown didn't come from a long, dominant Steelers drive. It was born directly from an officiating decision. One bad whistle turned into 7 points on the board. And from that moment on, the game entered a mentally unstable zone for the Ravens, with even harder moments still ahead. As infuriating as all of this was, even the Ravens themselves admitted the game didn't come down to the whistle alone. The defense, for example, had been on a strong takeaway streak, but saw Teddy Buchanan's interception overturned. And even worse, they completely blew the coverage on a game-deciding touchdown in the third quarter. The offense had its chances, too. Isaiah Likely's second touchdown was overturned, yes. But even after that, the team still had 3 more downs inside the red zone. They converted a check down to Derrick Henry. Then came the poorly executed third down play, the loss of yards, the incomplete fourth down pass, and the ball went back to the Steelers. That's exactly where Ronnie Stanley's words hit hardest. He summed it up with a tough truth to swallow. Even with the officiating mistakes, the Ravens had enough chances to win this game. They didn't execute when it mattered most. They didn't turn good field position into points. They didn't stay calm in the biggest moments. And that's where the most painful feeling settles in. Yes, the NFL made a serious mistake. Yes, it directly affected the game. But the Ravens also left the door wide open for that mistake to matter. And when a strong team allows small details to decide everything, this is a price, a loss that hurts from every angle. The NFL's official confirmation completely changes the weight of this defeat. We're no longer talking about opinion, interpretation, or social media outrage. This is the league itself admitting it blew a call that directly affected the score and the emotional flow of the game. That acknowledgement makes it crystal clear how much the Ravens were hurt in that moment. But it also reinforces something even harder. Despite all that, they still had real chances to win and couldn't close. So now the unavoidable question hangs in the air. What weighed heavier in this loss for you? The outrageous officiating mistake that turned into Steelers points, or the Ravens' own failures in the red zone and in the biggest moments? Because that answer says a lot about what the real issue is moving forward. What doesn't change is that this game sent a loud, heavy message. The Ravens have to come out of this stronger, sharper, and colder under pressure. Because if they leave room for error, the NFL won't forgive it, the opponent won't forgive it, and the season won't wait. And the response to this loss will define exactly how far this team can go.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.